Hello, hello, hello. It is me, your Tru Heel Phenom SP3. This is not the three count with SP3. This is another great WrestleMania list. And I am here with the host with the most, Mr. Mike Check 1212 himself, the host of Kayfabe Ave,
Hey,
Richie Moon. Richie Moon joined us on Tru Heel Heat 65. So I decided it's WrestleMania season. We're all staying at home. We are respecting social distancing. So I
yep.
said, let Kayfabe Ave and Tru Heels team up for the top 10 best WrestleMania opening matches of all time.
This was a very fun list to go through. Can you hear me? Because I don't have my mic.
I can hear. I can. I can hear you well. You just don't have the same inflection as you
I
usually
know, right?
do. You
I got
know.
that the same pop that I usually got, man. I ain't got that same pop. I'm saving my big WrestleMania. I'm saving my big pops for tomorrow on Sunday. You know what I'm saying?
All right, I feel you. I feel you. I respect it. I respect it 100%. So we're going to go through the top 10 best opening matches from WrestleMania 1 to WrestleMania 35.
Yep.
We had 35 different matches that we could have chose from. First off, let's start off with one honorable mention. We'll probably say another one before we tell them our number one choice, but one
Yeah.
honorable mention before we go into our number 10 that you want to mention, Richie.
William Regal versus Rob Van Dam. WrestleMania. I want to say, was that 17?
18.
That was
18.
18?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. That was
17 was Regal and Jericho, and then 18 was RVD and Regal. Really good match. Very hard hitting for the small amount of time that they got, too.
Yeah, they got their shit in. Oh yeah, they got their shit in. Yeah, it was really hard. And this is prime time RVD and prime time William Regal. So all those moves are just crisp, just transition. I loved it. Yeah, really, really good match. Chris Jericho and William Regal, like you said earlier, they just didn't get enough time to tell the full story that they wanted to tell. But that's definitely another good honorable mention.
Yes, I'll mention one, and I'll mention probably another before we say our number one. But the first one I want to name is from last year's WrestleMania 35. Very overlooked. Seth Rollins versus Brock Lesnar for the WWE Universal Championship for a 2-minute match. It was everything that we wanted out of it. And you had to include the 1 minute where Brock beats the crap out of him before the bell rings. But it's technically 2 minutes in total. But it was all the 2 minutes that we needed from Brock Lesnar and Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
So let's get into it. Coming in at number 10, we
Number
got
10.
from WrestleMania 21. It is the two great friends, Eddie Guerrero versus Rey Mysterio. So I don't know if you remember this match very well.
Oh
This match
yeah.
was set up because the two were WWE SmackDown Tag Team Champions, and
Mm-hmm.
Ray had got a series of wins over Eddie over the last couple of weeks. So they wanted to decide who was the weak link in the team, who was the better man out of the two, and what a match this was. What was your thoughts on the match?
I really like this match, and you can start to see because Eddie's going to turn heel pretty soon after this, and you can see all the little subtle signs that he's going to turn, especially at the end when they have that handshake, and it's such tension, and it's really awkward at the end, and it's just like, the only thing I wish about that match, I wish they had like 5 more minutes.
I could see that. Yeah, if they had like 5 more minutes, it would probably be remembered as one of the better matches from WrestleMania 21. It kind of gets overshadowed by Shawn Michaels versus Kurt Angle and the first Money in the Bank, and of course the coronation of John Cena and Batista in the two main events. So
Yeah.
this match gets overlooked a lot. So I'm glad we included it on our list. But that's one thing. The small little details of storytelling that foreshadows the feud to come, I definitely enjoyed about this one. But just the fast-paced, back-and-forth action.
Mm-hmm.
This was kind of like an older, more mature version of their match from Halloween Havoc in 1997. So I like.
Great call. Yeah, absolutely. Because you can because the one from Halloween Havoc is straight. It's just straight spots. It's just move. And this one, there's a lot more storytelling. There's subtlety. They're slowing it down. They're in their prime at this time in their career. So yeah, good call on that one.
And the only reason that it's so low on our list, the number 10, the main negative of this match for me is the fact that Rey Mysterio didn't have a better mask. Because literally the whole freaking match, he's trying to fix his fucking mask. It's like, dude, why didn't you
Makes me
wear a better
uncomfortable.
mask?
It makes me uncomfortable, just like when Ronda Rousey wrestles and she has to pull down her short. It makes me uncomfortable. Just like, would you just get some shorts that fit you, because you're making me uncomfortable because I know you're uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? So I totally get that. I totally get that.
Respect.
And yeah, another number 10, because they just needed 5 more minutes. I think if they had 5 more minutes, this may have made it higher in the list.
Absolutely. So coming in at number 9, we got the first of, I think it might be many ladder matches, Money in the Bank from WrestleMania 25. This one had a very eclectic class of superstars in it. We had Christian, we had Kane, MVP, Kofi Kingston, Mark Henry, I believe, I'm probably missing some people.
Shelton Benjamin.
Shelton Benjamin, CM Punk, and I believe there's one more.
Mark Henry.
I think I mentioned Mark Henry, but maybe Kane. Who knows? But there's a lot of people in this matchup.
You got everybody. Yeah, you got everybody.
Cool. So it's a lot of people in this matchup. This matchup is remembered for following kind of the Money in the Bank formula, but kind of switching it up. It had a very cool finish to me with the whole exchange between, I think it's Christian and Shelton. They're fighting on the top of 2 ladders, and both seem to be like tipping over. One goes out of the ring, but Christian catches himself on the top ropes and then pulls the ladder back into place. And the crowd goes wild because the crowd wants Christian to win this match. And then CM Punk, who is a babyface, gets booed out of the building when he's the one that stops Christian. No, it's actually Kane stops Christian, and then CM Punk takes Kane off to the ladder and wins the match. But I loved it. It's a spot fest, but it's a spot fest that's definitely entertaining. What was your thought?
This was actually, at this time, I was kind of a part-timer. I'm not even a part-timer with wrestling this time. I had pretty much stopped from WrestleMania 20 to 20. This was kind of like my reintroduction, kind of getting back into wrestling. What's interesting about all these is Shelton Benjamin, poor Shelton Benjamin, taking the biggest, most dangerous spots and never wins. Not even, he doesn't even get the spot like where his hands touch the cat. No, he just.
How many Money in the Bank does he have the best spot in the match? Like this one, it's his. I think he's on like a 15-foot ladder and goes head first, does a swanton where he's going head first into a pile of the 6-7 other guys, and it looks like none of them catched him because it looked like he went head first to the ground. But
he turned his head at the last possible second to make that dive, and they're just like going. When I was watching, I was like, okay, he's good. But yeah, it was, yeah. Poor Shelton Benjamin.
it's a fun match, but yes, poor Shelton.
Shout out to CM Punk though, man. CM Punk, CM Punk came out the winner of that.
Yeah, and this led to his heel turn and great rivalry with Jeff Hardy later that summer in 2009. So let's move on to number 8. We got the final match in the career, or so we thought, of the Rated R Superstar Edge. Edge versus Alberto El Patron, a.k.a. Alberto Del Rio, at WrestleMania 27. This was all set up. Alberto Del Rio debuted the previous summer. He had a great winning streak on SmackDown. He defeated Rey Mysterio, Christian, among others. He won the biggest Royal Rumble up to that date, the 40-man Royal Rumble in 2011, versus Edge, who won the world title at TLC in a fatal 4-way and had defended the title against the likes of Dolph Ziggler. He lost the title to Dolph Ziggler for like an hour and then won it back. We don't have time to get into that. But yes, Edge versus Alberto Del Rio. What was your thoughts on the match?
Actually, I was there for this WrestleMania.
Nice.
Edge is one of my favorite superstars of all time. Little did I know at that time this would be Edge's last match. Thinking about it now, the writings were kind of on the wall. When you think about it, with his injuries and everything that was leading up to it, I thought this was a really good match. Very surprised. I think like everybody else, like, wait, the World Heavyweight Championship match is starting off WrestleMania,
and I feel like the match has a bad perception due to that. Due to the fact that the world title being in the opener of WrestleMania at that time, we all felt like it was a slight against the world title.
I think also the way they presented it too, because at that time now we look at it like, oh, that's great. This is the opening match. We're starting off high, but at that time, there was just a classic build where you're building the show all the way to your main event. So for it to start off with that, people were a little taken back. And I also think the way they kind of presented it, granted, you had John Cena and The Rock being involved with that, with the Miz and the title picture and all that time. But so that was everything on that show was going to get overshadowed because The Rock was coming back. But I feel like the way they presented that match, kind of, not even the fact that it was first, they kind of just, the World Heavyweight Championship just seemed so much less important than the WWE Championship during that time. But as far as the match, this is a great match. This is a really fun match, back and forth. Del Rio took a lot of this match, and I really like when I was watching it back. It was really Edge's wits and him using his veteran tactics that really won him this match, because physically Del Rio took almost like 80% of this match. It was really Edge counter wrestling, and finally, I think he ended it with the spear, but it started off with he went for the armbar, switched it into like that reverse sharpshooter that he does.
Yeah, yep.
And then he got it out
that
of
was a really cool spot.
Yep.
I like the involvement of the outside people with Brodus Clay and Alberto Del Rio's corner and Christian in Edge's corner. I like how they like had those guys kind of contribute to the matchup. But it's a really fun matchup. Definitely gets overshadowed by a lot of other things on WrestleMania 27, and the fact that it's Edge's last match, and the fact that the world title was the opener of WrestleMania. But like you said, you gave a perfect description. You were there live. It was a really good matchup.
Yeah, good match.
Coming in at number 7, we got from WrestleMania 31, the Intercontinental Ladder match. This is another one where I'm probably going to have to look up or try to remember the participants in this one.
I got it.
You got it?
Because I definitely do. I remember like some of them, but we had Daniel Bryan, Cody. Whatever happened to that guy Stardust? Whatever happened to him?
He's probably like some ham and egg or somewhere, making like $5 for some promotion somewhere.
Shout out to Stardust, man. I hope he continued his wrestling career.
I hope he's doing well.
Dolph Ziggler. This other guy, Luke Harper, man. I wonder what happened to him, man. I wonder whatever came.
I wonder. He's probably in a high place somewhere, probably exalted in some type of way. I don't know.
Hopefully, R-Truth. Bad News Barrett. Oh man, I miss Bad News Barrett, man. I love listening to him on commentary, but I would love to see him in the ring. And this other guy, Dean Ambrose, I don't know what happened to him, man. I wonder what happened to these guys, man. I wonder if
he went back to CCW or something like that. I don't know.
Maybe, man. I know he used to go by this persona, John Moxley. I wonder whatever happened to those guys.
Yeah,
man.
I wonder if he ever got free or something like that. But
I wonder. This is a good match, though, man. This is a fun match. Watching it back, I felt a little sad, and only because I had literally just watched WrestleMania 30, the main event, and then coming right into this, and it's just like, what a difference a year can make.
Yeah, I mean, at this time, I think in hindsight, we can all say that WWE made the right decision because of what happened to Daniel Bryan after this match. It was never going to be the right decision for him versus Brock Lesnar at this show. And that's what all of us fans, and I was one of them, even though I'm a Roman Reigns fan, today in 2020, 2015, SP3 was one of those people that was like, no, yeah, Daniel Bryan's back. Daniel Bryan has all the momentum. Daniel Bryan should verse Brock Lesnar. Now, in hindsight, I know I was wrong. Roman Reigns was the right decision to verse Brock. They had a great match at that night. And putting Daniel Bryan in this was a nice kind of difference in the 2 years that we had him closing the show one year, had him opening the show this year. I mean, I'm going to say that those headbutts at the end between him and Dolph Ziggler probably contributed to the fact that he wasn't Intercontinental Champion for that long.
Yeah. Those pretty harsh headbutts.
And John Moxley taking 2 of the biggest bumps in the match, the elbow drop from the top of the ladder, and then that power bomb from Harper into the ladder bridge on the outside was ridiculous. But I really like this match a lot. I honestly would have had it higher if it wasn't for its cousin, which is the following year's matchup that we will get into. But this one definitely was a great match.
Yeah, this is a really fun match. Like you said, looking back in hindsight, that was the right decision. Ironically, I remember that match with Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns to determine the number 1 contender. And I remember watching that match like, I actually started liking Roman Reigns after that because it was like, yo, this guy can go. Like
Yeah.
he made, WWE script creative, whatever. They may be shoving it down the throat, but I was like, that was the first match I looked at him. I was like, oh yeah, he can go. He's not just a look. He can really go. So
Yeah, that match to me was very similar to in like I think it was like 2000 like 2003 or so when John Cena had young John Cena, Doctor of Duckonomics John Cena went up against Kurt Angle. And they had like a pay-per-view matchup, and you really got to see that John Cena could work on the same level as Kurt Angle. That's how I felt watching Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan. Like I was not that big of a fan of Roman Reigns in 2015, but that was the match that kind of started the progression to me becoming a fan.
it makes sense.
Coming in at number 6, we got from WrestleMania 33, the last WrestleMania that we both attended.
Yes.
We have AJ Styles going one-on-one with Shane McMahon. Since you were there live, tell us your memories of this matchup.
I felt a bit underwhelmed. I'm just like, dude, this is AJ Styles, man. Why is AJ Styles going up against Shane McMahon? But to Shane McMahon's credit, I personally think, don't tell Steve Blackman this, I think this is probably Shane McMahon's best match.
Keep it on the low. Steve's going to get upset. Steve's already upset,
pop
man.
Up through the screen or something like that, man.
He's already upset. So is Sean Waltman. He's already got X-Pac heat, and you're saying Shane McMahon had a better match with AJ Styles than X-Pac. Okay.
I thought this is a good match. I mean, granted, now, can Shane McMahon keep up pound for pound with AJ Styles? Absolutely not. But did they put on a good match? Absolutely. It was believable. Did I ever think Shane was going to win? No. But were there some close near falls that I brought into? Yeah. So it was a good match. It was definitely a good match.
Shane takes some insane spots in this match. The coast to coast. He does the elbow drop through the table and, of course, mixes. He does a shooting fucking star press. One of the more impressive things I've ever seen Shane McMahon do live. And I will say, out of all the matches on our list, this is the one match that exceeded all expectations that anyone had going into it. And honestly, in my eyes, even though I call Brock Lesnar versus Goldberg the greatest 5-minute matchup in history, we had the big pop for the Hardys, and that ladder match was good. I say this was the best match at WrestleMania 33 as well.
Honestly, this is horrible. I really don't remember that much of WrestleMania. Like, there's I remember the Hardys coming out because literally, and I'm hoping this comes up in my memory. I promise you, as the New Day are coming out and they're like, whoo, I say to my friends, the Hardy Boys are coming out. 3 seconds later, donna. So I remember the Shane McMahon Styles match, the Hardy Boys pop, and that thing that I posted on Facebook today with the memory, that's pretty much all I remember. So yeah, it probably was the best match on the card because I don't remember anything else.
It's either Styles versus McMahon or Goldberg versus Brock when they had all their finishers at Max.
Oh, dude, I agree with you 1,000%. The best, I mean, that I love that. I can go back and watch that match.
I can watch that match every year. I kind of have watched it like the last 2 years. I've watched it around WrestleMania season. I was like, I got to go back and watch this match again. This match is so much fun.
That's what I was assuming Roman Reigns versus Goldberg was going to be. Like, that's what you need to do. Go out there, give him the best of the best. 5 minutes. That's it. That's all you need. That's with Goldberg. Kind of what Brock. Well, it depends who Brock Lesnar going against, but that's kind of really all you need. Really, all you need is just 5 minutes of the classic hits, and that's it. No need to overexpose him.
All his best matches were 5 minutes. So hey, to each his
exactly.
Coming in at number 5, we got another Money in the Bank ladder match. This time from WrestleMania 23, and I will say, from all the WrestleManias, from all the Money in the Bank pay-per-views, this is the greatest lineup for a Money in the Bank ladder match in history. Ooh. You have Matt Hardy, where you have Matt and Jeff Hardy, the Hardy Boys. You got Rated RKO, Edge and Randy Orton. You got Finlay. You got Booker T. You got CM Punk, and you got Mr. Kennedy, who, regardless of how you feel about any of these guys in 2020, You have to imagine in 2007, though, all of these guys were at their peak of their popularity, or they were on the cusp of going to great things like CM Punk. Mr. Kennedy was the fastest rising star in WWE. You had the whole Rated RKO story. You had the Hardys being against each other in a ladder match. So many different elements, so many story layers to this matchup. What was your thoughts on this?
You know, this is one, like I said, this is kind of during my, I guess, sabbatical from wrestling. So I had to go back, and I didn't really know all the storylines going into it. I just watched the match. One specific spot I really remember is Edge is laid out on a ladder, and Matt is convincing Jeff to like jump off, which takes both of them out, which I think is genius by Matt. Seeing it maybe
exactly like everybody wants to point out the fact that Jeff seems like a dumbass for this, not understanding the fact that Jeff is just a little brother listening to his older brother. Like that was a great storyline element to it because Matt either intentionally or unintentionally took out two people in the match.
I think he did it. I think we were seeing the sprinkles of the broken brilliance coming to our screen.
He did show more broken brilliance in one of the other memorable spots in the match when he holds fucking Queen Charmel hostage. Yo, he has two of the most subtle heelish moments in this matchup. It's hilarious. It's really hilarious. The whole interplay, like you said, between the Hardys, the whole rivalry between Rated RKO, CM Punk doing the Terry Funk tribute, and then taking a spear with the ladder still around his neck was kind of dangerous to me. I don't know about anybody else. Probably my favorite and funniest spot of this whole match is Mr. Kennedy giving the the Green Bay plunge to Hornswoggle, which was laugh out loud funny in 2007, and I laughed again watching it again.
I was actually going to bring up that spot, and if I watched it the other day, there is such a small margin for error. If he would have just went 1 inch that way, that could have been a really, really bad spot. But excuse me. Yeah, that was a really memorable spot. But yeah, 1 inch one wrong way, and that could have been bad. But that was dude, just thinking about that, man, that was a big spot that they did, man. But yeah, that was a fun match. Really,
so much fun.
I don't really remember. I don't really remember like too many other spots from besides like those big major spots. I don't really remember.
I mean, kind of the gist of the whole match, you can kind of say it in a couple of sentences. The match starts off with a big melee, like most Money in the Bank ladder matches start off. Then the guys go to the outside, try to get ladders. One of the more memorable parts of that is Booker T getting out the small ladder, which was foreshadowing the Hornswoggle coming up. CM Punk winds up bleeding during this portion of the match. Then you had everybody gets a turn to get their shit in. Finley went wild. Matt Hardy went wild. Orton gave RKOs to everybody. Booker T went wild. Punk with the ladder spin. Then Jeff does that whole spot, takes out Edge. Then it's basically a race to the top. We have the whole spot with the holding hostage. We got Orton gets taken out. Punk looks like he's gonna win, and then Kennedy hits him with the ladder and wins the match. Basically, just of it.
Man, we joked around, like Moxley and Starter, where those guys go. Man, it's kind of sad what kind of happened to Kennedy from where he could have been. Like his potential was high, man. Like it's a shame that a company like AEW wasn't around during that time, because I'm pretty sure he could have went over there and he could have lived his full potential. I feel like Mr. Kennedy never really got to his potential.
Not in WWE and not even in TNA. TNA, there was a lot of stop and starts with him. Like the WWE stuff, you can kind of like point to, okay, he got injured when he was hit the Money in the Bank, so they had to take it off of him, put it on Edge. Then he had the whole steroid scandal when he was supposed to be the illegitimate son of Vince McMahon. And 2 strikes in WWE, you don't get a third. You're usually out after that. So it's understandable.
And don't forget about the situation with Randy Orton, where I think
that was the 3rd strike that got him fired. He never got, after those 2 like real chances where they gave him Money in the Bank, they had him lined up to be the illegitimate son of Vince McMahon. I never really saw another point after that where they really were trying to position him into a prominent role. That Randy Orton thing, that was actually his return back from injury, and then one move got him fired. So,
sheesh, man, that's Hey.
Hey, Kevin, we pray for you, and we hope to see you soon on NWA Power.
Yeah, I was gonna
coming
say, yeah, he's on Power.
Coming in at number 4 is a very recent one, another recent WrestleMania in the last couple of years. We have from WrestleMania 34, the Intercontinental Championship triple threat match as The Miz defends against Finn Balor and Seth Rollins. What was your thoughts on this one? This one is one that got a lot of praise from WrestleMania 34.
I remember this match. I remember a lot of spots from this match. I love Seth Rollins' intro of this. I'm not too versed on Game of Thrones. Don't kill me, people. But I
Yeah,
know like
sorry.
yeah, I know he cosplayed something from Game of Thrones. I remember the match was just really hot. All three of those guys just came out the gate just swinging, hitting the ground, running. All three of them got their shit in. I remember there was a sequence where I think the Miz had Balor in a figure 4. Then Seth Rollins hits like a big splash.
Yep.
Then there was another spot where I'm pretty sure Seth Rollins was pinning. Oh yeah, the Miz hit a skull crusher finale on Seth from the top rope, goes for the pin. Finn comes off the top rope to break it up with a coup de grace. It was just like, whoa, 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 whoa. Then it's over. And it's just like, oh, hell yeah, that's the way you start off for WrestleMania. That is where you start off for WrestleMania.
They had a great pace to this match. They had like you said, a very unique three-way sequences and spots throughout this match. The storytelling is very underrated with the little
Yeah.
callbacks, like Rollins going for the the running power bomb to Balor to the same barricade that got him injured in the first place. Balor reversing the superplex into the Falcon Arrow, which was the way he got a pinfall over Seth on Monday Night Raw before WrestleMania. So all those little storytelling bits make this a great matchup. And like you said, just the pace of it and those unique spots is the reason why it's number 4.
Yeah, because the typical three-way match, you throw one guy out, you work the other guy over, they kind of reverse and all. They didn't really do that. All three of them were pretty much fighting the entire time. Like, they were pretty much just doing three-way sequences the entire time. So yeah, it was good match, good stuff.
Got it. So coming in at number 3, we got another recent one. Another recent one, and this one is as we've chosen it, the best ladder match to open a WrestleMania ever. The Intercontinental ladder match from WrestleMania 32. Do you have the participants written down for this one?
I do. Well. Oh, look at this. This guy pops up again. So maybe his career did go good. Stardust, man.
This guy Stardust in every what?
No, man.
Man,
I wonder if anything happened, man. I wonder if anything happened to him after that. We had
he seems like an elite talent. But
he does seem like an elite talent. I can't believe nothing ever happened to that guy, man. You know what I'm saying? I feel like he had so much more personality under the star, under
the star. Yeah. He's always been a star, but I think Stardust is one of his best characters here. But we got Stardust, Miz,
Dolph Ziggler, Zack Ryder, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and Sin Cara.
I don't know about you, but this match, the glue of this match is the Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn rivalry.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Anytime they were in the ring together, that was the best part of this match.
There's hockey fights in the middle of everything. It's just like, you guys got a championship fight. Yeah, we know that, but yeah.
It's like the Chicken and Peter Griffin. Like every single time they see each other.
I wish WWE was cool enough to continue that. Like, no matter what the rivalry is, no matter what's going on, they could be separated on 2 shows for 9 months. But as soon as they see each other, they just start fighting. I wish they were cool enough to keep stuff like that. But that's nor here nor there. Let's focus back on the match. Let's focus back.
Exactly. If they were still in NXT, maybe we had luck. But this match, I love the fact that they let everyone kind of get their spot in and have their shine. Stardust with the Dusty tribute, the polka dot ladder, even Sin Cara with that insane dive that he did at one point. Sami Zayn with the dive through a ladder, which was very unique. Kevin Owens at certain spots with the pop-up power bomb. Even Zack Ryder got to give the Rough Rider to a few people during this match. Miz with skull-crushing finales to everybody. The most memorable spot to me is that insane half and half suplex Zayn gives Owens onto the
Oh,
ladder, where I thought Kevin Owens was
mm,
dead. I thought he was dead.
yeah, it was. That was a pretty uncomfortable spot. Actually, my most memorable moment of this match is the end. I mean, who would have thought? Who would have thought Zack Ryder? It's a shame. Another guy that's potential was just like, dude, he could have been so WWE. You literally have gold in your hands and you just throw it away. We don't want this gold. Forget gold. We don't want it. But when he pushed Miz off and he won, I'm just like, finally, we're like 3 years late, but hey,
Better
the
late than
crowd's
never.
here for it. And then what did he? Well, he lost. What the next? Oh, he lost it the next night. Did he lose
To
the
the
next
Miz.
night to the
To the
Miz?
to the Miz. Yes, he lost it the very next night, but he got his WrestleMania moment. That's what this is all about. He got his WrestleMania moment, but this match with the surprise winner, with all those two great spots, and Zayn and Owens rivalry kind of being the glue and the storytelling portion. That's why it is number 3 and the best ladder match that we have as an opener for
You know,
Wrestle.
it's interesting. You said the WrestleMania moment. Going back to the oh no, that wasn't even a countdown. But I remember I was reading a post from Enzo, and he was talking about the Hardy Boys match and how everybody came back. And he said, everybody was laying out the match how they wanted it, and he said he only wanted one spot, and that one spot was him climbing up the ladder and almost touching the briefcase. And he was like, that was my WrestleMania moment. So when we think about that, we don't think about Enzo at all. We just think about the Hardy Boys come out. But those moments are important. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, like Zack Ryder. Like, yeah, he lost the belt 24 hours later, but who always have that moment of being on top of the ladder at WrestleMania 32, being an
He
Intercontinental Champion?
and for a fact he doesn't care how long he held it. He got the moment. He got to hear his music as he came down to the ring. He even says it during the entrance, like I got to hear my music at WrestleMania for the first time. He's like a little kid. It's funny. And then he got the moment of winning the title and having his dad in the ring with them. So I don't think it matters that he lost it the next night. That's why it's number 3 on our list.
Yeah, absolutely.
Coming in at number 2,
Ooh,
this is really tough. It was really tough for me to determine between this number 2 pick and the number 1. These are by far, I think I think we can both agree there's kind of a gap between 1 and 2 and every other matchup that we've named here
I think
because
this is
these
preference.
matchups have great build-ups to them as well. So
Mhm.
coming in at number 2 from
Woo.
WrestleMania 30, it is Triple H versus Daniel Bryan. We all know about this story, the story of Daniel Bryan versus the Authority, one of the great rivalries that
Yeah.
WWE have come up with in the past decade. Daniel Bryan was always put down. Triple H cost him the title at SummerSlam the previous summer. From
Mhm.
there, the Authority at every turn tried to keep the title away from them to the point that he had to occupy Raw with the wrestling fans, just like us, just like you that's watching this video right now, and got his matchup with Triple H, with the winner getting into the main event WWE World Heavyweight Championship triple threat match. What was your thoughts on this matchup?
I absolutely love this match, and I'm gonna have to give some credit for the creative to the WWE fans because we absolutely demanded this match. WWE would spin it as if this was the plan the entire time, and they are liars. They
They
are
are.
liars because this
This
was
is true.
not the plan at all. We, the WWE, we change literally the course of wrestling history because we believed in Daniel Bryan so much. But as far as the match, this was a great match. This is just classic heel versus classic face, working over the injured body parts, you know, shutting down the hope spots, and then boom, soon as you think that Triple H is gonna win, boom, he comes through, running knees, 1, 2, 3. Daniel Bryan goes on to main event the rest of the night. I thought this was a great match. I think this might have been one of the last of Triple H's like real. I mean, him and Ron, him and Steph versus Angle and Ronda the next year was good, but as far as one-on-one matches, this might have been Triple H's last like classic WrestleMania match. Because I'm sorry, I mean, I love Batista, I love Triple H, but that match at last year it was not it. It was exactly, and that's their own fault. Like cut that match to like 7 minutes. Yeah,
Two
that match.
50-year-old guys should not get 20 minutes. 20 minutes taking out each other's piercings and all this other type of shit. That was ridiculous. But yes, I agree with you 100%. This is the last great singles match that Triple H has had at WrestleMania. I don't count Sting, I don't count
No.
Roman, and I don't count Seth. So we're not even going to address those. But this is and I'm just going to say it out loud. I know there's probably Triple H fans watching this, but for a guy that's had 18 times at WrestleMania, you can literally count Triple H's great matches at WrestleMania on one hand.
Well,
I'll let
let's
you
do
think
it.
about it. I'll let you think about it. Get back to me. If you're watching this, if you can name more than 5 great Triple H WrestleMania matches, we might even send you something if you put it
Does
in the
it
comment section
does it
below.
count that 3 of them against the same person?
They're not all great. 17 is not great. 17 is good, but
Block 17,
I,
man.
I love WrestleMania 17. I love the match, but it's a good match where the referee falls asleep for 10 minutes. The referee got punched and fell asleep for 10 minutes. Like, what was he doing?
Just like, listen, man. It's been a long weekend. All right, WrestleMania weekend is a long weekend, man. You need a little nap, man.
These guys fought through the crowd all the way to a fun house where he freaking Triple H gets a choke slam into a kiddie pool and shit.
That
Like
kind
it's
of threw me off. Yeah, that
uh,
threw me off a bit. Yeah, it
I,
threw me
I
off.
rewatched that match too, and I was like, yeah, I still can't. I was like, I thought it was just my 13-year-old eyes, but yes, 31-year-old SP3 also says, why should I feel like Triple H got hurt when he landed on an obvious crash pad, like an
Yeah,
obvious crash pad?
obvious
Come
one.
on.
It had a nice little bounce to it and everything. It was like, ooh.
But this match here is just great. Triple H brought back his technical ability. This was the first time in over 2 decades I saw 2000 Triple H again because he was moving. He was working on a level that Daniel Bryan was kind of telling him to meet him at, and Triple H delivered in this matchup. But a lot of the credit, of course, goes to Daniel Bryan. He had to sell a lot in this matchup,
Yeah.
show his wrestling ability at the same time, and kind of keep Stephanie McMahon engaged as well because, of course, she has to have a part in every Triple
Of
H
course.
match.
I mean, she created women's wrestling. Of course she does.
But this match is just great. It's a great technical match. It's honestly, there's not too much else I could say about it because it led to even better match in the main event. But I love this match.
Yeah, a really good match. Really, really fun match. All
Well,
right, man.
it brings us to our number one. Thank you for following along with our journey here, my friend. Here, we're hoping that cough is a normal cough.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's a
Oh,
that's the residuals of smoking cough. I've kind of stopped. I've stopped smoking weed, so some of that residual cough is still in me.
this guy, of all the months for you to stop smoking weed, you did it on 4/20, April
Yeah, man.
2020.
I had to come to a crossroads, man. We've had a diabolical relationship, and it was just like, you know what, I love you, but you know what, for now, we just gotta part ways for now. Maybe later.
He's like, he needs 6 feet of distance. Six
Yeah,
feet
me
of
6 feet.
distance between me and you.
Yeah, me and Mary Jane are practicing social distancing right now. You know what I'm saying? So,
Understandable.
you know what
Understandable.
I'm saying?
Before we tell them our number one choice for the greatest WrestleMania opening matchup, you have any other honorable mention that you want to mention? And maybe you should mention, in your opinion, what is the worst WrestleMania opening matchup you've ever seen?
You know what? Oh, gosh, the worst. Man, I remember it was like WrestleMania 2 or 3. I have no idea who these guys were. And it was just like out there. And it was just like, is this a match? This is happening right now? I don't remember the guy's name.
He was like, he was like, I just erased that from my memory. And he was like, poof,
Yeah,
gone.
like
I don't
you
remember it.
go through them, like I'm going through the list, and I'm just like, yeah, this is definitely not making the list. And then but then you end up watching a match, and you're just like, the fuck is this? You just took 2 guys and were just like, all right, go out there and open up the show, and yeah, do whatever you want. Just be done in 6 minutes.
Just go. Leave me alone. Just go.
I can't think of any other ones. I think we've mentioned all the honor as far as openers. Yeah, I feel like we've mentioned all the honorable mentions. Do you have any other ones?
Honorable mention, I want to mention JBL versus Finley from WrestleMania 24. That's
Mm.
another one that really exceeded expectations because I had very low expectations for that match going in. And if you rewatch that match is just two big dudes beating the crap out of each other with whatever they can find, including the best spot of the whole match, JBL throwing a trash can at Hornswoggle down on the floor. It's probably my favorite gif from a WrestleMania ever. Um, the worst WrestleMania opening matchup I have ever seen as a long-time diehard, hardcore Daniel Bryan fan, all the way back from when he was Bryan Danielson in Ring of Honor. WrestleMania 28, Sheamus versus Daniel
That
Bryan,
was the opener,
18
dude. I was
seconds.
there for that one.
18 seconds is my choice for the worst opener in WrestleMania history because it led to the fans becoming the bookers because that created the yes movement right there. So there is a positive to that match, but it is the worst because the whole point of that match was to put over Sheamus as a top guy. But no, he did not become a top guy because of that match.
I remember vividly. I can't. It's funny. Like I said, I was at that WrestleMania. Wow, that was the opener. I remember vividly this energy coming over the crowd once he hit the boot, hit the 1, 2, 3. Everybody just had like this. It was almost like this sour taste came in everybody's mouth. Everybody was just like, "What? Really? Is that what you're gonna do?" And then immediately, yes, yes. And dude, I'm gonna tell you the story. I'll tell you the story off air sometime. But that night after WrestleMania, I'm always will be connected to the yes movement. I will always like I'll tell you this off air, but I will always be connected to the yes movement. I love the yes movement for so many reasons because of that night. But wow, I don't remember that being the opening. But yeah, definitely, yeah, that's definitely one of the worst openings. What the hell were they thinking? How were they thinking?
Who knows? But yes, that is my choice for the worst. So we gave you 10 through 2. So finally we come to number one.
Uh-oh,
The
drum
number
roll,
one,
drum
the,
roll.
oh, 0 too. Yeah, right. The number one WrestleMania opening matchup in history is, of course, from WrestleMania 10, Bret the Hitman Hart versus his brother, Owen Hart. This match was all set up because of Owen's jealousy over his brother's Bret's popularity and his
Mhm.
success. Owen was the only member of the Hart family that was eliminated at the Survivor Series the previous November. Then from there, he challenged Bret to a one-on-one matchup, which Bret said he would not fight his little brother. So over the holidays, they got reunited and decided to go for the tag team titles at the Royal Rumble 1994.
Yep.
Bret decided he wanted to be a big brother and not tag his little brother in, even though he had an injured knee. They lost the matchup, and then after the match, to quote Owen Hart, he kicked his leg from out under his leg of his brother Bret. And that leads us to this opening matchup at WrestleMania 10. This matchup was also created because Bret won the Royal Rumble, and due to a coin flip, he won the Royal Rumble with Lex Luger, but due
Yep.
to a coin flip, Luger got the first title shot, so Bret had to have matchup before his championship match, and that's the matchup here. This matchup I just rewatched yesterday again,
Excellent.
twice in the last week. My God, this match is just technical wrestling at its best. It's just a masterpiece. Everything looks real. Everything, it just happens in a very logical, makes sense way, and the realism of this match is extraordinary. What was your thoughts?
I feel the same exact way. I mean, you're talking about Bret the Hitman Hart on Hart. You're talking about two of the greatest of all time. The storytelling, which Bret Hart is just a master at telling a story in a way, like you said, everything makes sense. That's why I love Bret the Hitman Hart so much because he's not just doing things for the sake of doing things. I mean, it's the little things when he punches you, him stomping on a mat to make it seem like he's knocking your block off. Like everything that Bret does was just he was the excellence of execution because everything he did, he had his periods, his exclamation parts, all that. If you compare a sentence to a wrestling match, he was the perfect sentence. I mean, he just everything, the way he laid matches out, the way it crescendoed, the way he lost, it was just perfect. Everything just made sense in that match. There are elements to that in today's wrestling. I wish there were more of those kind of elements in today's wrestling as far as the story. I mean, there are storytelling, but just everything making sense. Everything making sense. No extra movements for the sake. I mean, it looks good when they're doing a lot of extra movements, but as far as Bret and Owen in this match, like you're so right, every single move, every single sequence builds up to the next one, makes sense. And, you know, them being real life brothers, all the tension that's been going on for that entire year with that storyline. And then, you know, they have the stoof, you know, they have like the whole Hart family, not there, but like, you know, throughout some of the other matches and like the build up to it, like the Hart family will be there. So all that just added up to a perfect storm. And it was a really good match. Like I watched this match twice this week as you did, and just a really good match, man. I wish damn, man, just it's a shame. It's a shame that not saying that we can't get matches like that now, but just kind of that art of wrestling is a little bit lost in today's wrestling. It's a little bit lost. Like, we do have great wrestlers. Not trying to shit on, you know, this generation of wrestlers at all, because I personally think we are the greatest generation of wrestlers personally. But there's a storytelling to this that just the current generation just doesn't have. And they hit it once in a while, like your Okadas and Kennys would hit it once in a while, and your Johnny Garganos and Tommaso Ciampa would hit it once in a while. But just this art of storytelling is a little bit lost in today's wrestling.
No, I really agree with you, especially like the last part of what you're saying. Like, there's guys out there that, in the way that we're saying everything making sense, is every single move you can kind of understand why he's doing it. And just having every single thing that you do in the ring matter that much is very rare. Like, Okada does it, Tanahashi does it, Kenny Omega does it. AJ Styles at one point was doing it. He's kind of falling into that WWE style.
Yeah.
Gargano, I would say in the beginning of 2018, he really did it. And now he's kind of fallen into that whole near falls and spot fest type of formula that him and Adam Cole invented in their series of matches. But he was really like that. In the Andrade match, he made every single move against Andrade at TakeOver Philly Count. And that's what Brett and Owen, both guys at one time, did that. And there's only, I'd say really right now, there's only one guy in WWE that can have this type of matchup. And to me, that's Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan knows how to make everything make sense like this. And that's the only person I could see you putting in from this generation into that matchup and have it be the same.
Yeah. If WWE does, which I doubt they will, if they really let Daniel Bryan go like full-fledged with Drew Gulak and everything they're doing with that, they could really.
That's another one.
That could be some classic future matches, because I was actually at Elimination Chamber, and that was such another match. Everything just made sense. Everything just made sense. And, you know, I mean, I think this number one choice, I think this really comes down to preference. Like, this is obviously our preference of a wrestling style, just everything making sense, storytelling that crescendos in such a good way. But yeah, I think I definitely wouldn't disagree with this, but I think some people may disagree with this number one pick, but I think that just comes down to style of wrestling.
I don't even think it comes down to style of wrestling. I would say that if anyone disagrees with us, it's recency bias. If you disagree so strongly that you're like, no, Bret Owen doesn't deserve to be number one. Triple H and Bryan should be number one, or one of those ladder matches should be number one. No, there's recency bias. I will say from WrestleMania 30 to 35, that's been the best stretch of opening matches that we've had from WrestleMania. Because if you notice, we named each, even with our honorable mention, we've named each of those WrestleManias in our top 10 here, or as an honorable mention. So they have hit a great crescendo as far as which matches they book as the opening matchup. But I don't think they ever will have a matchup with that build up, with that type of like pace and that type of technical wrestling and storytelling like Bret and Owen ever again.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
So
Yeah,
let's
man.
wrap this video up here. Mr. Richie Moon, Mr. Mike Check 1212. Where can they find you on social media, or when can they find Kayfabe Ave?
You can find me at Mr. Richie Moon. You can find me on Facebook, the Kayfabe Avenue crew. We are on Facebook, Kayfabe Avenue. We are on the Instagram, Kayfabe Avenue. We are on the YouTube, Kayfabe Avenue. I think we're gonna do maybe a little bit of a live stream for the Mania. I know we're gonna do something for Mania. I don't know exactly what, but it's Mania. You gotta do something for Mania. You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
We're gonna do something for Mania. But yeah, you can find us on all podcasts and all social media, all Kayfabe_Avenue. Yeah, man. You can find me at Mr. Richie Moon.
Yes, and you can find me on the Instagram at Tru Heel _Epic SP3. Follow Tru Heel Heat on Twitter as well as IG at Tru Heel Heat, as well as Facebook and the Facebook group Tru Heels. And my good friends, Miss Chrissy Love and Top Guy JJ will also be giving you a WrestleMania reaction video right here on our YouTube channel. So
I seen that.
Huh?
I was gonna say I seen that video that you and Chrissy did with Dark Side of the Ring with Chris Benoit, man. That's
It's a lot. It's a lot. We got
it's a
a new
whole
one.
other conversation.
We got a new one up about the New Jack episode, so definitely check that out. And if you're watching this right now, you check that out as well. So for Mr. Mike Check 1-2, Mr. Richie Moon, sign off to the people. 4. It's me, your Tru Heel Phenom SP3. This has been the top 10 best opening matches at WrestleMania history. Put your comment down below, push the like button, push the subscribe and the bell to stay notified for more Tru Heel Heat.
That's what I'm talking about.